There's three parts of this. Would you go to the dinner? I think you're crazy not to. Not to want to see up close the person who's this important in everybody's lives for the last decade.
You know, I completely understand that.
Two, are you going to lie about it? I'm sorry, I'm not a liar. I don't lie, so I told the truth. And then three, do I go back to doing what I always did? Yes, I did.
Yeah, but you could have told more truth or you could have told less truth.
I told a lot of truth. I told everything.
I would have enjoyed a little more brevity on that. But I absolutely understand the
But that's just emotional. You were just triggered.
It's possible.
Bill Maher totally surprised everyone when he called out actor Sean Penn's woke ideas in a new interview. Penn tried to attack Maher for meeting Donald Trump, acting like that made him weak. But Maher stayed calm and used his sharp humor to show how empty Hollywood's fake morals can be. In that moment, Maher proved why some conservatives still respect him as one of the few reasonable liberals left.
California was its own country, and many people think it is.
Or if Canada was ours.
Yeah. You didn't see that coming. You got to admit that. Did you? With Trump?
Only, and I said, and I still do say to myself aloud every day, you know, whatever you don't expect, it's happening.
But you do, I hope, think I did the right thing to have dinner with him.
I think having dinner with him was absolutely. You're so smart. You go there and look. This is the president of the United States. Whether we like it or not doesn't matter. And
we have no
and I think
power.
there's a lot of reasons. I was speculating that that would be good for you to do that.
You could see from Sean Penn's face and voice that he hated the fact Bill Maher once had dinner with Trump. To him, even talking to Trump was wrong. That's what's wrong with a lot of people on the left today. They don't want real discussions. They just want their own ideas repeated. Anyone who talks to the other side gets attacked. Maher didn't care. He stayed calm and proved he still believes in free speech and honest conversations.
I think that when you talked about it on the show, that I would have preferred that I saw his mission or his will to have the dinner. I wish I would have seen it as less successful, because you're so smart on.
Well, it was less successful
Policy.
because I never stopped saying all the things I've always said about him. It would have been successful if he had somehow me into supporting.
Like I said before, Penn's reaction said everything. He didn't want Maher to ever meet Trump because he thought Maher got charmed. That's silly. Maher has always spoken his mind, but the left acted like just meeting Trump was a crime. When Maher later said a few fair things about Trump, they lost it. To them, you can't show balance. That's betrayal. By daring to see both sides, Maher broke a big Hollywood rule.
Maybe more brevity. You know what? He treated me fine. That's that. And now on. Maybe more. Maybe I would have done some editing. But I absolutely listen.
No, you're just being
the only reason I wouldn't. I have not been invited. The only reason I would not accept an invitation is because I see no. It's a long flight. I see no.
Really? You'll meet with
I don't think
Castro and Hugo Chavez, but not the President of the United States?
Yeah, I saw good results come out of some of those things in terms of agendas that I had. I don't think that there's anything that I would... I just personally wouldn't trust anything that was said in the room.
So let's get this straight. Sean Penn would meet people like Fidel Castro and Hugo Chavez, but not the US president? That's crazy. It shows how the modern left will talk to dictators, but not to people who simply disagree with them. Maher pointed that out too. Penn admitted Trump seemed nice, but clearly hated saying it. He wanted Maher to bash Trump, but Maher didn't. He just told the truth. And that's not allowed in Hollywood's echo chamber.
It's not a matter of trusting it. It's a matter of seeing it, a matter of experiencing, a matter of knowing it.
Yeah, it's
more knowledge. It's like saying, I don't want this medical test because I don't want to know. I want to know.
Yeah, fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean,
I have some good friends that, are on
I said this many times within the piece when I did it, that it's up to, I'm just giving you the report. It's up to you to make the decision. Who do you think is the real guy? I'm telling you, there's a very different guy behind closed doors in a different setting. Now,
capable of performatively seeing that, yeah.
Well, one of the either, well, my my friends who believe in astrology would say he's a Gemini. Of course, there's two of them.
I loved how Maher handled this. He told Penn to think for himself instead of believing everything the media says. Maher basically said you can't really know someone if your only opinion comes from biased news. If Penn only listens to left-wing media, of course he'll hate Trump. Maher told him to meet people, listen, and form his own thoughts. It was a smart reminder that you need to think critically, not just repeat what you're told.
That's one way to look at it. Other people will say, well, the real guy is the guy you met, and he's playing this clown on TV. And other people will say the reverse. It seems harder to do the reverse. Can you really pretend to be sane? You can pretend to be insane. I think it's harder to pretend to be sane, to be measured and like all the things I said, which is just what happened.
Honestly, I think Trump is mentally fine, both in private and public. He says things most politicians are too scared to say. He's direct and doesn't play fake political games. That's why so many people respect him. Sure, he can sound harsh, but he gets real results. Whether it's the economy, borders, or foreign policy, he focused on action, not applause. In a world full of fake talkers, that kind of honesty...
3 parts of this. Would you go to the dinner? I think you're crazy not to. Not to want to see up close the person who's this important in everybody's lives for the last decade.
I completely understand that.
2, are you going to lie about it? I'm sorry, I'm not a liar. I don't lie, so I told the truth. And then 3, do I go back to doing what I always did? Yes, I did.
Yeah, but you could have told more truth or you could have told less truth.
I told a lot of truth. I told everything.
I would have enjoyed a little more brevity on that. But I absolutely understand the
But that's just emotional. You were just triggered.
That's possible.
Maher made Penn admit the truth. His anger wasn't logical, it was emotional. When Maher had dinner with Trump, Penn lost it. He wasn't thinking, just reacting from years of being told Trump is evil. What really bothered him was that Maher enjoyed the dinner and spoke honestly about it. Penn wanted Maher to hate it or stay silent. But Maher didn't, and that honesty made Penn squirm. It showed how emotions, not logic, drive most political outrage today.
It's true that,
but I
for some reason, this particular president triggers me rather often.
Exactly. He makes people crazy, but he's not making me crazy. But, so you really wouldn't go?
No, I don't. I'm not saying I think I wouldn't, because, let me put it this way. What I know I would not do.
Especially, he's very...
I would not go, let's say, so for example, when we talk about this very different president of Uruguay, there were things that Uruguay had models of in development that could be very helpful to Haiti. And I went to see if we could get some training from them and so on and so forth, which we did. And whereas if I were, let's say, representing a cause célèbre, say it was Ukraine, say it was whatever it was, I would not fool myself that I was going to get any.
After Maher called him out, Penn started to stumble. The man who spoke so smoothly before suddenly didn't know what to say. Earlier, he was talking about open-mindedness and diplomacy, but when Maher asked if he'd meet Trump, Penn froze. He couldn't answer without sounding like a hypocrite. That's what happens when emotion meets reason. Only one wins, and in that moment, reason was all Maher's.
I know that I wouldn't. I know that I would have no influence.
Bad attitude. You don't know that. You don't know anything. He's a guy who frequently seems to go by what the last thing he heard was. I'll tell you this about Donald Trump, and you don't know it because you don't go to dinners. It's all about...
I didn't go to dinner with President Trump. That's true.
You should. It's all about personal relationships.
I've not been invited.
Okay, I will get you an invite. He's a star fucker in a way. I bet you he would like to meet you. And you would have a...
Yeah, he'll see the show. He says, if I see him, they're going to call me a star fucker.
I don't think he watches the podcast. He does watch the show. He's a faithful viewer.
He's got people that do his thing. Dan Bongino would be knocking on your door if you didn't go to dinner.
That's not why I did it. And it could work out the other way. You don't know. He's very unpredictable.
Sean Penn totally missed the point here. Many on the modern left think they own the truth and morality. Penn said he'd only meet Trump if he thought he could influence him, like he's some teacher correcting a bad student. But what if Penn's the one who's wrong? Just because he's a celebrity doesn't mean he's wise. Maher saw through that arrogance and called it out, showing how many on the left prefer lecturing instead of listening.
Talking about, health and well-being, and what we were talking about before, we're like you realize that we're kind of a pioneer generation as far as the first people around our age who actually have it in our head, wait, they could solve the mortality thing before we get there. That's not something that even existed in my father or mother's mind.
In the end, Bill Maher did what few in Hollywood dare to do. He refused to follow groupthink. He didn't attack Trump just to please others. He made Penn, and the left in general, face their own echo chamber. Penn's problem wasn't really Trump, it was realizing how closed-minded his side has become. Maher proved that free thinking isn't betrayal. He showed that real civility means being honest, not obedient. In that talk, Maher didn't just win the argument, he won the battle for honesty.